Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Monte's Gems / Connecting with the Creator. We're back in Job. Going to start out with chapter 6. And let's get going. Chapter 6. Eov responded, I wish my frustration could be weighed, all my calamities laid on the scales. They would outweigh the sands of the seas. No wonder, then, that my words come out stammered. For the arrows of Shaddai find their mark in me, and my spirit is drinking in their poison. The terrors of God are arrayed against me. Does a wild donkey bray when it has grass? Does an ox low when it has fodder? Can food without flavor be eaten without salt? Do egg whites have any taste? I refuse to touch them. Such food makes me sick. If only I could have my wish granted, and God would give me what I'm hoping for. That God would decide to crush me, that he would let his hand loose and cut me off. Then I would feel consoled, so that even in the face of unending pain, I would be able to rejoice, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. Have I enough strength to go on waiting? What end can I expect, that I should be patient? Is my strength the strength of stones? Is my flesh made of bronze? Clearly, I have no help in myself. Common sense has been driven from me. A friend should be kind to an unhappy man, even to one who abandons Shaddai. But my brothers are as deceptive as Vade streams that soon run dry. They may turn dark with ice, and be hidden by piled up snow. But as the weather warms up, they vanish. When it's hot, they disappear. Their courses turn this way and that. They go up to the confusing waste and are lost. The caravans from Tema look for them. The travelers from Shiva hope to find them. But they are disappointed, because they were confident on arrival there. They are frustrated. For now, you have become like that. Just seeing my calamity makes you afraid. Did I say to you, give me something? Or, from your wealth, offer a bribe on my behalf? Or save me from the enemy's grip? Or redeem me from the clutches of oppressors? Teach me, and I will be silent. Make me understand how I am at fault. Honest words are forceful indeed. But what do your arguments prove? Do you think your own words constitute argument, while the speech of a desperate man is merely wind? I suppose you would even throw dice for an orphan or barter away your friend. So now I beg you, look at me. Would I lie to your face? Think it over. Please, don't let wrong be done. Think it over again. My cause is just. Am I saying something wrong? Can't I recognize trouble when I taste it? I think some of these verses that we're going to be reading here are just a little bit difficult because they seem to just be nonsensical statements that are made back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so to try to understand the points and the purpose that they were included in our Bible and what is it that we're supposed to do with them, it's just like, what's the purpose here?
Right.
I guess it's to see Job's frustration,
Yeah. Yeah, that it was hard for me to wrap my head around what's even kind of going on here.
Mm-hmm. Something I was listening to last week, I've been doing a lot of research in the Bible and how the Bible was formed and how they interpreted it and how they chose what books were included and whatnot. And I think there's this religious idea that the Bible is God's word, and it's perfect the way that it is. And so everything inside of it has a perfect purpose, and that it doesn't contradict itself, and everything is clear. And from a historical view of it, is that it's not perfect, and that it is written by man, and there are mistakes in it, and that if we look at it and understand that this could be a mistake or this could have been interpreted improperly, and we just kind of read and we go on, then we don't always have to try to make it make sense in every applicable way to be like, oh, okay, well, how do I compare my life to this? And how do I try to understand what Job is saying here? Instead of just being like, all right, don't understand this, don't really understand why this is here. move on instead of just
Right.
trying to dissect every single piece of it and making it how it applies to me and how I need to be perfect and how
Yeah.
I just try to align myself with everything because it's like it's God's word, which from a religious perspective can be very heretical, I would say, right? To be considered a heretic to say, maybe like it's not perfect and you know we just need to try to do our best to learn what we can from it and the insights we can take.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Anything else before I go on to chapter 7?
Nope.
Alrighty. Do not mortals have hard service on earth? Are not their days like those of hired laborers, like a slave longing for the evening shadows, or a hired laborer waiting to be paid? So I have been allotted months of futility, and nights of misery have been assigned to me. When I lie down, I think, how long before I get up? The night drags on, and I toss and turn until dawn. My body is clothed with worms and scabs. My skin is broken and festering. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember, O God, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. The eye that now sees me will see me no longer. You will look for me, but I will be no more. As a cloud vanishes and is gone, so one who goes down to the grave does not return. He will never come to his house again. His place will know him no more. Therefore I will not keep silent. I will speak out in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or the monster of the deep that you put me under guard? When I think my bed will comfort me, and my couch will ease my complaint, even though you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I prefer strangling and death rather than this body of mine. I despise my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone. My days have no meaning. What is mankind that you make so much of them, that you give them so much attention, that you examine them every morning and test them every moment? Will you never look away from me, or let me alone even for an instant? If I have sinned, what have I done to you? You who see everything we do. Why have you made your target? Why have you made me your target? Have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my offenses and forgive my sins? For I will soon lie down in the dust. You will search for me, but I will be no more.
And I think this verse and the previous one, sometimes it's difficult to look and see how he's so clueless and not understanding of like why there's creation, why there's people. When like in today's society, I think we live in a pretty good time in the world in terms of what's available and how almost all of our needs are met, almost all of our wants can be met, and so it's just like it's very amazing the opportunity that we have to live and all that we get to have. So we don't ever, but I can also see where I'm in a very fortunate place in my life right now with being financially stable, having really good security and stability, and so if everything was taken away, I can remember these times when I was down here, trying to struggle to find a job, even though I felt like I was very qualified and had a very good skill set, and that I just couldn't find any opportunities. And I was like, what in the world? Like, what is going on? How is this possible? Now I have much more confidence. I think that confidence can come based on the things that we're given sometimes, and we don't realize how easy it could be to lose them because in my mind, I'm just like, oh, well, I can just use my skills to go find something else and to continue to progress. And it's amazing how much our circumstances can change our mindset and our belief system and who we are, and especially also in a creator, like it's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's easy if life is easy to believe in everything that you want to believe in, and then when life gets hard, it's a really a test of faith, I guess, to see if you actually believe what you think you believe, or if you'll just fold so easily and Give up on all those.
Well, not only that, but how we advise others, right? So like if I'm in a really good position and somebody else is really struggling, it's like, well, come on, man, like go do this, go do that, go try all these other things. It's like, yeah, well, like maybe this person is struggling for their next meal, or they're hoping to try to pay rent, and they're just stressed out because they can't they can't go and enjoy life on the weekends and go do anything because they're just trying to save up every small little dollar that they have. And maybe their car is starting to have issues and they don't have the finances, and they live in a city where it's already really difficult to live below your means because of how much the cost of living is. And that can be very, very overwhelming. You're just going to sit here and try to tell them to have faith, or to keep pushing and to work harder, or to have a better mindset. Just be positive. Don't be negative. It's like, oh, who am I to say something like that? Like,
Yeah.
and I think for you and I, it's very easy. It's much easier for us to look at this perspective because we had a father who was very, very sick for a long, long time. And for me, it was just like, man, like, it'd be really, really hard to just keep on going and going and going for, man, he passed away 2 years ago. I think he got sick when I was 13. So 20, 23, 24 years, he just, his health, to where he couldn't walk and to where he was just sitting there watching TV. And it was just like, man. I think it helps us realize like how you can't take life for granted, but that you also need to be empathetic for others, and not ever trying to have pride and arrogance to put yourself above others because you think you're better than everybody else, because things like that. An accident can happen to absolutely anybody. You can eat the wrong food or whatever it is. So
Yeah, definitely.
you have anything else to share in that verse?
I do not.
Chapter 8. Bildad the Shuki spoke next. How long will you go on talking like this? What you are saying is raging wind. Does God distort judgment? Should I prefer justice? If your children sinned against him, he left them to be victims of their own offense. If you will earnestly seek God and plead for Shaddai's favor, if you are pure and upright, then he will rouse himself for you and fulfill your needs. Then, although your beginnings were small, your future will be very great indeed. Ask the older generation and consider what their ancestors found out. For we who were born yesterday know nothing. Our days on earth are but a shadow. They will teach you. They will tell you. They will say what is in their hearts. Can papyrus grow except in a marsh? Can swamp grass flourish without water? While still green, before being cut down, it dries up faster than any other plant. Such are the paths of all who forget God. The hope of a hypocrite will perish. His confidence is mere gossamer. His trust a spider's web. He can lean on his house, but it won't stand. He can hold on to it, but it won't last. For its destruction will come, like the lush growth of a plant in the sun. Its shoots may spread out all over its garden. But meanwhile, its roots cause the stone house to collapse. As it seizes hold of the rocks, someone who tears it away from its place denies he has ever seen it. Yes, this is the joy of the way, of the godless, and out of the dust will spring up others like him. Look, God will not reject a blameless man, nor will he uphold wrongdoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the tent of the wicked will cease to exist. And I think, again, some of these things are also a struggle because just a couple of weeks ago we were reading in the New Testament about those who hate you will be clothed with shame. And it talked about our enemies like not really having recompense for their actions, that the wicked will still essentially have success. So it's difficult. It's difficult. It's like, what you're saying, does God distort judgment? Does he pervert justice? If your children sins against them, he left them to be victims of their own offense. It's like, well, everybody sins. And I think that's really important to be able to understand, is that we're not all perfect, and that each one of us individually needs to take responsibility for our own actions. We need to continue to strive to be better, but we also need to be able to accept others for where they're at and what they're doing. I think, I don't remember who said it, but it's, yeah, and that we all sin, and that I think it's important to be empathetic towards other people and being able to understand their circumstances, their feelings, the things that they've went through in life, because you can never put yourself in someone else's shoes and have to experience every small single second of the things that they've gone through, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody speaking harshly of them or being abused or whatever it might be, not being loved properly. Um, I think another important thing here is where it talks about, can papyrus grow except in a marsh? Can swamp grass flourish without water? Um, and I think it's about, showing about things where they blossom and where they do the best. And I was actually, just before we got on this podcast, listening to Jordan Peterson's podcast where he was interviewing Tim Tebow, which, as you know, is a very strong Christian, very belief. And he was talking about his upbringing. And when he was born, his mom went through a lot of very difficult things in her pregnancy, to where, like, they didn't think he was going to be able to live. And doctors actually suggested that they abort him to try to help with her pregnancy and make sure she didn't die. And so from that day forward, I guess when he was born, the doctor had said, this kid is a gift of God. Like, there is no way that this would happen. And that small voice that was instilled in him from, it's like, Tim, you were meant to be here. You were meant to be here. Like, you weren't a mistake. This wasn't just by happenstance. Like, but in actuality, we were all meant to be here. And so think of the power that we can have on each other, especially as our children, as they grow up. If we tell them how special they are, and how unique they are, and how important they are, and if that's something that's instilled in us, then when we get to your age and even my age, to where we have confidence in who we are, we believe who we are, and that belief that we're supposed to be here and that we're supposed to be doing something is ingrained to us, to where we're not just lackadaisical and thinking, oh, I'm just a piece of garbage, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to sit around the house and do nothing and be a lazy sack of potatoes. Sound like grandpa using terms now.
Yeah.
But that we have a purpose and that we're meant to be here. I think for me, is trying to instill, like telling you, you're a great brother, you're very talented, and doing your video editing, and making sure that I'm instilling those things inside of you, or the people that are special and that they have skills, is that if we continue to encourage and uplift each other, man, like, our mindsets, each individual mindset, we're just going to be so much more confident in who we are and our abilities, and we're going to put forth way more effort. Like,
Yeah.
that's really, really special and powerful. And I don't think I don't do that enough to people. Like, I wish that people would do it more to me. Well,
Right.
it starts with me, right? Like,
Right.
it starts with me doing that. Like, maybe it's even our partners, when they look special or they dress up, like, making sure that they know how good they look. Like, you look beautiful, or you're hearing that you look handsome. Like, I don't know, man. That's really powerful to me. Like, somebody telling me that. Like, that's really, really special. It makes me feel good. It's like, wow, like, someone recognizes my appearance and that I try to take care of myself.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's underestimated how much just complimenting somebody and boosting their self-esteem how that has an effect on the mind and what they do and how they carry themselves, and it has like this domino effect of how they think of themselves in their lives.
And not to just do it for infatuation and for brownie points to what it is we can get in, but to speak life into people, to speak positivity into people, just to let them know that they're a human being, that they have a purpose, that they're special, and just leaving it at that. To uplift based on no other, not gaining anything, not receiving anything by saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I had to share about chapter 8.
Alrighty. I will go on to chapter 9. Then Job replied, "Indeed, I know that this is true, but how can mere mortals prove their innocence before God? Though they wish to dispute with him, they cannot answer him one time out of 1,000. His wisdom is profound, his power is vast. Who has persisted him and came out unscathed? He moves mountains without their knowing it, and overturns them in his anger. He shakes the earth from its place, and makes its pillars tremble. He speaks to the sun, and it does not shine. He seals off the light of the stars. He alone stretches out the heavens, and treads on the waves of the sea. He is the maker of the Bear and Orion, the Pleiades and the constellations of the south. He forms wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. When he passes me, I cannot see him. When he goes by, I cannot perceive him. If he snatches away, who can stop him? Who can say to him, 'What are you doing?' God does not restrain his anger. Even the cohorts of Rahab cowered at his feet. How then can I dispute with him? How can I find words to argue with him? Though I were innocent, I could not answer him. I could only plead with my judge for mercy. Even if I summoned him and he responded, I do not believe he would give me a hearing. He would crush me with a storm and multiply my wounds for no reason. He would not let me catch my breath, but would overwhelm me with misery. If it is a matter of strength, he is mighty, and if it is a matter of justice, who can challenge him? Even if I were innocent even if I were innocent, my mouth would condemn me. If I were blameless, it would pronounce me guilty. Although I am blameless, I have no concern for myself. I despise my own life. It is all the same. That is why I say, he destroys both the blameless and the wicked. When a scourge brings sudden death, he mocks the despair of the innocent. When a land falls into the hands of the wicked, he blindfolds its judges. If it is not he, then who is it? My days are swifter than a runner. They fly away without a glimpse of joy. They skim past like boats of papyrus, like eagles swooping down on their prey. If I say, I will forget my complaint, I will change my expression and smile, I still dread all my sufferings, for I know you will not hold me innocent. Since I am already found guilty, why should I struggle in vain? Even if I washed myself with soap and my hands with cleansing powder, you would plunge me into a slime pit, so that even my clothes would detest me. He is not a mere mortal like me, that I might answer him, that we might confront each other in court. If only there were someone to mediate between us, someone to bring us together, someone to remove God's rod from me, so that his terror would frighten me no more. Then I would speak up without fear of him, but as it stands with me, I cannot."
For some reason, this chapter that you just read, I don't know, something that kept coming into mind was like the Holocaust and just like going through something like that and just being part of that, where you you have absolutely no control over your life. You're imprisoned for not doing anything wrong, for who you are or what belief system you are, and that you see people dying and being killed, and it's just like an animal going into slaughter. Like, just trying to think like what that would do to your mind, how you try to like pray to God and like ask for patience, ask for guidance, ask for understanding. And I guess in today's day and age, like I feel it's very, very difficult to hear his voice to try to understand what that would mean, and that you just try to read something like this and it's like, oh well, you know, he allows good and bad to happen. It's like, holy cow, dude. Just like, the little kids that are, possibly being abused, like they can't stand up for themselves. They can't do anything about it. They don't deserve it. The things that are happening to them are so mentally debilitating to it's like, what can we expect them to grow up like? Like, what type of monsters are they going to be? And then it's like, oh, well, when they become those monsters, they're going to be held accountable for their actions. But right now, they're going through these types of things that would cause something like that. And it's just like, every action has a reaction, right? And it's just like, so hard to deal with, because it's like, you don't want to be around bad people, and people do bad things, and it's just like, wow, why are they being an idiot? And it's like, well, to sit back and to think about what type of life has this person had, what things have they went through, what has created this monster. I don't think that usually just comes from nothing, where someone just has a good life and they just become an absolute monster.
Yeah, that's like the whole idea of school bullies. And it's like, yeah, those people go to school and bully other people mostly because their guardians at home, they're bullying them. That's all that they know how to do. So it's like they take it to school and do the same thing. It's a very
Yeah,
common practice.
whether it's an older sibling, whether it's a parent, whether it's a step parent, whether it's a cousin that they have to be around, or an uncle or something. Yeah, but then it's that bully is the bad person. Like, they're the bad person, and everybody points the finger at him. It's like, that's a bad person. It's like, whoa. It's like a beautiful art piece. Like, it gets created, right? Like, each stroke makes it prettier, more beautiful, gives it more detail, more sentiment. And it's just like, each thing that happens to us creates who we are and who we become. It's it's easy to think that it's God's protection that has allowed me to have such a successful life and so much stability, to where I'm in a safe place right now. I have a good emotional mindset, and my siblings are all healthy, and everybody seems to be doing well. Nobody's poor without food in my family or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, like, so this is God. Like, this is God, because there's other people that are just as deserving as me, that I'm sure aren't being able to live this way.
Right.
All right. Ready for chapter 10?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 10. I'm just worn out. By my life, I swear, I will never abandon my complaint. I will speak out my soul's bitterness. I will say to God, don't condemn me. Tell me why you are contending with me. Do you gain some advantage from oppressing, from spurning what your own hands made, from shining on the schemes of the wicked? Do you have eyes of flesh? Do you see as humans see? Are your days like the days of mortals? Are your years like human years? That you have to seek my guilt and search out my sin? You know that I won't be condemned. Yet no one can rescue me from your power. Your own hands shaped me. They made me. So why do you turn and destroy me? Please remember that you made me like clay. Will you return me to dust? Didn't you pour me out like milk? Then let me thicken like cheese. You clothe me with skin and flesh. You knit me together with bones and sinews. You granted me life and grace. Your careful attention preserved my spirit. Yet you hid these things in your heart. I know what your secret purpose was, to watch until I would sin, and then not absolve me of my guilt. If I am wicked, woe to me. But if righteous, I still don't dare raise my hand, because I am so filled with shame, so soaked in my misery. You raise up to hunt me like a lion, and you keep treating me in such peculiar ways. You keep producing fresh witnesses against me. Your anger against me keeps growing. Your troops assail me, wave after wave. Why did you bring me out of the womb? I wish I had died there with where no eye could see me. I would have been as if I had never existed. I would have been carried from womb to grave. Aren't my days few? So stop. Leave me alone so I can cheer up a little before I go to the place of no return, to the land of darkness and death, dark gloom, a land of gloom like darkness itself, of dense darkness and utter disorder, where even the light is dark. I mean, that chapter just helps me to realize like how undeserving I am of God's graciousness and compassion on my life. Is that like I've sinned so much. Now, maybe the amount of breaths that I've made from the day I was born until this second right here, right now, yeah, maybe there's been more air that's been breathed than the amount of sin. Like if you were to like line up
Mm-hmm.
how each second was spent, then yeah, okay. But still, it's just like if I really take a good grasp of my life, like looking at jealousy, looking at anger, looking at laziness, looking at all these things, like I'm accountable of all of those things. I've done them all,
Mm-hmm.
and so whether I've done it once or whether I've done it twice or whether I've done it 100,000 times, I've still fallen short of perfection,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so to realize that even though I've fallen short of perfection and I still have a very enjoyable life, I'm very fortunate of that because I think there's people out there who have possibly done better than me who don't have this life. And so I think that's for me, like as I hear Job pleading here, like, yeah, he's very, very frustrated. But I think if he was to take a deep, deep picture of his life and realize that he is sinful and that we all are sinful, and I think maybe, that's where this idea of Jesus came to be able to remove that sin, to give us hope. But with that, we still have to realize that we're still sinners. And so like we should still expect to not have a perfect life,
Right.
and we shouldn't expect that on others.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, I don't know. It's easy to not expect a perfect life, but then you step back and you see all of these things happening to Job all at the same time. It's difficult to wonder if you didn't do something in order for those things to happen. It's difficult to step back and see, did I do some atrocious thing in order for all these things to happen, or is this just natural and this is the way that God works and this is the way my life was supposed to be?
Right, because any amount of sin should be able to be receiving of death
Mm-hmm.
or punishment, right? Like retribution, whatever you want to call it, discipline, like
Mm-hmm.
each thing that we do, like eh, we're all responsible for our actions, how we've treated others, our siblings, our spouses, our partners, our parents, like the headaches that we've caused. Like, just if you just think of all those things in this long list, I know that when Chatty the Elf was on here, he went through Santa's naughty list and his good list, and you really think about like if God had a naughty list and a good list of all of our actions and all of our deeds, like
Mm-hmm.
how would they line up? How would they compare to one another? Like what is the amount of good that we do? Are we feeding the homeless? Are we helping the widow? Are we like it's just like
Yeah.
no, I'm just trying to provide for Chad. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to
Right.
uh, make Chad happy. Like
Yeah. Yeah. It's a difficult, it's very difficult, especially when you work so hard to just make sure that you have a good life, and then it kind of slips by that you're supposed to be helping other people and doing all that you can to help other people. And then the whole idea of trying to not be taken advantage of comes into play, and the end of the day, if people are going to take advantage of you, people are going to take advantage of you. I don't think you can let that stop you from trying to do good. Obviously, learn from that, but you can't let that stop you from trying to do good.
No, but I think that's where for me I kind of continue to limit my circle. Like, I like to have a lot of friends, but no, what I really want are people who I can trust and who I know are going to be good people who who live to love, maybe, who really can care about people, who are kind and compassionate and empathetic and understanding, and trying to really make sure that circle is those people, and then being able to try to impact those who I have contact with and interaction with. And I think for me, it's like, my brothers, my sisters, my siblings. Maybe it's not so much the poor and the stranger and those, like, it seems like we're commanded to do. It's like I have a hard time helping those people. Like, and if we all helped our families and stuff, then there wouldn't be a stranger.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah. No, it's amazing how this book of Job, even though sometimes it's just poems and some of the things maybe not seem that clear, it's amazing what your mind will do as you start thinking about this and just trying to be grateful and forgiving of yourself. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been interesting just reading through it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that's all I have for this week. Those were the 5 chapters of Job from 6 to 10. We thank you guys for joining and enjoy doing these and talking.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking. It's important.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
See you, everybody.